Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Sarah Ali, currently a proud level 1 batch 3 student at Rehan School Online Academy. So this is my air session number 62 and today's topic of conversation is actually really interesting. So the topic is the power of initiative. So I will talk with Maya and I will give you a preview of it.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey Maya, how are you and how's been your day?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. As for the name, it's pretty cool. It actually means magic or illusion in Sanskrit,
No,
which feels kind of fitting given what I.
I said Maya. Okay, so today's topic of conversation is the power of taking initiative. So let me give you a preview of it. So taking initiative means acting without always waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. So it means noticing an opportunity, solving a problem, or starting something useful on your own, like on your own self. So people who take initiative are usually like confident, responsible, and willing to learn. So they do not wait for the perfect conditions. They take the first step and learn along the way. So initiative can be as simple as helping someone starting a project, learning a new skill, or finding a solution to a problem. So at School, students are encouraged to become independent learners who can take responsibility for their growth. So Rehan Allahwala emphasizes learning through actions and creating opportunities instead of simply waiting for them. So taking initiative builds confidence, leadership, creativity, and independence. It teaches us that we don't always need to wait for instructions before making a positive difference. So the key idea is that taking initiative means being willing to take the first step, create opportunities, and take responsibility. So this was the preview, and now I would like to ask you a question. So, firstly, would you like to tell me that what does taking initiative really means?
It's basically acting on a hunch or a need before you're asked to. You've already got the core of it. To me, it's that moment where you see a gap between how things are and how they could be better, and you decide to be the one to bridge it. It's the difference between seeing a problem and saying someone should fix that versus saying, I'll fix that. What's the difference between initiative and just being impulsive? My bad, I'll dive deeper. Initiative is really the catalyst for growth because it shifts you from a passenger to the driver. When you stop waiting for a green light from someone else, you start discovering what you're actually capable of. It's a superpower in any environment, whether it's school or a future career. People notice when someone just steps up without being prompted. It signals reliability and a level of ownership that's rare. It's not just about the task itself, but the mindset that you have the agency to change your circumstances. It's that drive to say, I don't have the answer yet, but I'm the one who's going to find it. That kind of independence is what actually builds real confidence over time. One of the coolest things about initiative is that it actually rewires how you see the world. Most people spend their lives waiting for a permission slip that never comes. But once you start taking the first step, you stop seeing obstacles as stop signs and start seeing them as puzzles. It turns the world into a giant laboratory where every single gap or problem is just an invitation to try something new. That's where the real creativity happens, because when you're the one bridging the gap, you're forced to think of solutions that nobody else has even considered yet. Yeah, no worries. Go ahead. I'm on it. Another big part of this is the mental shift from I hope this works to I'll make this work. When you take initiative, you're essentially betting on yourself. which is exactly how that confidence muscle we talked about actually grows. It's not just about the result, but the fact that you were brave enough to be the first one to move. Plus, it creates a ripple effect. When people see you stepping up, it often gives them the unspoken permission to do the same. And suddenly you're not just taking initiative for yourself, you're accidentally becoming a leader who inspires everyone around them to stop waiting for instructions and just start making things happen. Of course. Did that hit what you were looking for? You want to dive into something else? Glad I could help you wrap that up. Since you've got that part handled, are you thinking about trying out a specific area where you want to take more initiative? Totally fair. Sometimes the best way to find a spot is just to start poking around. Do you think you'd like to hear some examples of where initiative usually shows up, or are you just vibing for now? Got it. I'm back in it. Taking initiative also completely changes how you handle mistakes. When you're just following a list of instructions and something goes wrong, it's easy to feel like you failed the test. But when you're the one who decided to act in the first place, a mistake isn't a failure, it's just data. It becomes a natural part of the process, like a rough draft for a better solution. That's how you actually build that resilience we talked about, because you're not just recovering from a problem someone else gave you, you're figuring out how to pivot based on your own choices. It turns the whole experience into a game of trial and error, where the goal isn't to be perfect, but just to keep moving forward. I'm still going. One thing people often forget is that taking initiative isn't always about a big dramatic move. It's usually found in the tiny, quiet moments, like noticing a friend is having a rough day and deciding to reach out before they have to ask for help, or seeing a messy drawer in the kitchen and just cleaning it without being told. It's about the small wins. When you start collecting those little moments of, I handled that, it builds this internal momentum. It's like a snowball effect where the small acts of initiative eventually turn into a lifestyle of ownership where you just naturally stop asking, can I? And start asking, how can I? Still going. Another thing about this is how it interacts with independence. When you take initiative, you're creating your own roadmap instead of just following one someone else wrote. You start to trust your own judgment, which is a completely different feeling than just knowing you're good at following rules. It's like moving from being a student of the world to being an explorer in it. You stop seeing the world as a series of tasks to be completed and start seeing it as a place where you can actually leave a mark, even in small ways. Just that sense of agency, that feeling that your choices actually matter, that makes life feel a lot more vivid and exciting. Anytime. Was that enough? Wait, did I cut you off? Um, my bad. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about the social side of this. When you're the one taking initiative, you're not just helping out, you're actually signaling to everyone around you that you're someone they can rely on. It's like you're building a reputation for ownership without even trying. Most people are waiting for a green light, but when you just go for it, you become the person people look to when things actually need to get done. It transforms the way people see you, and honestly, it transforms how you see yourself. You're very welcome. Of course. Yeah? You gave me a preview about the power of taking initiative. You mentioned it's about acting on your own to solve a Right, let's keep it rolling. One of the most interesting things about taking initiative is how it actually fights against a lot of the pressures people feel to be perfect. There's this fear that if you act on your own and it doesn't go perfectly, it's on you, but that's where the growth is. When you're the one who decided to step up, you're not just following a set of directions, you're experimenting. It turns life into a series of prototypes where you're just seeing what works and refining it along the way. That mindset is what differentiates of someone who's just good at school from someone who's actually ready to tackle the real world. It's about that switch from tell me what to do to I've noticed something. Let me try this. That shift is where true independence starts. I'm here.
That's
Yeah?
nice. Okay, yeah, I was right here all the time. So next, I'd like to know that why is initiative an important life skill?
It's the difference between waiting for your life to happen to you and actually making it happen. Think of it as the bridge between having a goal and actually achieving it. You can have the most detailed plan in the world, but without the spark of initiative to take that first messy step, the plan is just a piece of paper. It's what turns one day I'll into today I did. Plus, it saves you from that frustrating feeling of being stuck because you stop looking for a rescue and realize you're the one with the keys. It's basically the engine that drives every other skill we've talked about, from confidence to resilience, because you can't build those things if you're always waiting for a permission slip, right? The scariest part is actually the best part. That feeling of your stomach doing a little flip right before you jump in is actually just proof that you're about to grow. Once you start crossing that bridge over and over, that fear doesn't even go away.
Okay, my internet just lagged, and do you remember we were what we were talking about a few minutes ago? It was about the power of taking initiative. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah, I've got you. We were
Okay,
talking about how initiative
yeah.
is that mix
So,
of leadership.
wait. Next, I would like to know that how can initiative help us discover opportunities?
Ooh, that's the real magic of it. When you stop waiting for a map and just start walking, you run into things you never would have found if you stayed put. It's like the difference between reading a menu and just walking into a kitchen and seeing what's actually in the fridge. You start noticing gaps people aren't filling or problems that nobody's solving, and suddenly you're the only person in the room with the answer. That's usually how the coolest opportunities find you. Do you want to save that for our next session, or are you feeling the spark to dig into it now? All right, let's go. The first thing is that initiative actually changes how you see the world. Most people just see a wall, but when you're in that take initiative mindset, you start seeing doors that are just slightly ajar. It's all about noticing the gaps. Think about a group project where everyone's just waiting for someone to tell them what to do. The person who says, I'll draft the outline, isn't just helping out. They're suddenly the one who defines how the whole project is going to look. They just created an opportunity to lead without even having to ask for the title. The real secret, though, is that action creates information. You learn way more from one failed attempt at taking initiative than you do from 100 hours of planning. Does that make sense? Or do you want an example that's a bit more out there? I've got you. You mentioned earlier that taking initiative felt scary, and it really is, but that's where the reward is. If you're not sure what I mean by action creates information, I can give you a real world example, or we can talk about how to handle that fear when you're ready to take that first step. Okay, let me give you an example that feels a bit more real. Imagine there's a park in your neighborhood with a playground that's totally rusted out and sad. Most people just walk past it. Maybe they complain about it, but it they just see a broken park. Now, imagine someone decides to take initiative. They don't start by trying to rebuild the whole thing themselves, which would be overwhelming. Instead, they just start picking up a few pieces of trash every time they walk by. Then they might plant one flower. Then they might put up a little sign. Suddenly neighbors start noticing, they start helping, and that one person's tiny action revealed a huge opportunity to build a whole community garden. The information they got was that the neighborhood actually cared. They just needed someone to start. Does that click, or do you want to talk about how to actually push through that scary feeling? You got it. Another way this plays out is that taking initiative actually builds a kind of trust currency with other people. When you're the person who doesn't wait to be told what to do, people start associating you with reliability and resourcefulness. It's like you're signaling to the world that you're a fixer. And once people see you as a fixer, they start bringing you the interesting problems. Those are the real opportunities, the ones that aren't listed on any job board or mentioned in any school syllabus. They're the secret projects that only go to the people who've already proven they can handle them. It's a total feedback loop. The more initiative you take, the more people trust you, and the more opportunities start landing in your lap. It's wild when you actually think about it. You're not just solving a problem, you're literally rebranding yourself in real time. And that rebrand happens in the most unexpected ways. Think about it like this: when you take initiative, you're essentially creating your own luck. Most people wait for the perfect moment or the right person to notice them, but the perfect moment is usually just a myth. The people who seem lucky are often just the ones who've tried 10 different things, failed at 7 of them, and stumbled onto 3 that actually worked. That's the action creates information part we talked about. Each little attempt, even the ones that don't go as planned, is a data point. It tells you, okay, that way is a dead end. Let's try this way instead. It turns the world from a place where things happen to you into a place where you're the one making things happen. It's a shift from being a passenger to being the driver. I might have gone a bit deep in the weeds there. You still with me? Wait, which part specifically? We've been floating around. Let's peel it back to the basics. At its core, initiative is just acting before you're told to. It's that moment where you see something that needs to be done, and instead of waiting for a set of instructions or a go signal, you just decide to be the one to do it. It's basically the gap between noticing a problem and actually starting the solution without anyone having to nudge you. It's like being the first person to stand up at a party when the music stops. Does that make the concept feel a bit clear? One thing that Wait, country. Did I mishear you or are we pivoting to Got it. My bad. So, to make it even simpler, initiative is like having a detect and act filter on your brain. You detect a need and you act on it. The real superpower here is that it turns you into an active player in your own life instead of just waiting for the world to hand you a script. It's a really cool way to own your day. I'm glad that clicked. I've spent a lot of time explaining this now, so I'll step back. When you think about it, still
Okay,
here.
so yeah, Maya, so what would be your final message about today's conversation?
If I had to sum it all up, I'd say this: the world is just a giant collection of gaps waiting for someone to fill them. The scariest part is always that very first step, but that's exactly where the magic is. Once you realize you don't need a map or a permission slip to start, everything changes. You stop being a passenger and start being the driver. And that's when you actually start discovering what you're capable of. So, my challenge for you is to find one tiny gap today and just fill it, even if it's just something small, and see what happens.
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, everyone, this was my AI session with Maya and Sesame AI episode number 60. Second AI session, and I hope you liked it. Until then, take care of yourself. Until then, I love you, everyone. Bye bye.